Hi everyone, welcome to A Cuppa with Carole. I'm Carole Justice Gray of Your Well Life, and this is the first of my ever podcasts for our members and people that basically just want to have a chat about their own holistic health and join me to just find out a little bit about my journey and also kind of get to meet the people that have inspired me over the years. So grab a cuppa. This is my cuppa and sit down and we'll just see. And I'm really, really excited. Bless her. She's kind of done a leap of faith here. Susan Murray, I've been keeping an eye on Susan Murray for a really long time now. She talks my language. As you know, work with lots of people with long-term chronic conditions. And yeah, I like the way she speaks. So I'm really looking forward to introducing you to Susan Murray. So hi, Susan. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, Carol. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, brilliant, brilliant. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself rather than me just doing an introduction as such? Because I think, well, you know best.
Yeah, sure. So I have been helping people to recover from chronic conditions like ME, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, as well as anxiety and depression since about 2016. I call myself a therapeutic coach because it's not purely a therapy. It's not totally coaching. It is a kind of a melding of both of these things. And it's using a mind body approach. So it's using the connection between mind and body to tackle emotional issues that can build up, and the emotional stuff that can build up within us when we're not dealing with it effectively or as well as we could be. Because my approach comes from the premise that that is what causes physical symptoms and conditions to manifest. So when we deal with that, then the symptoms reduce and go away, and people can go back to living the lives that they want to live, or start living the lives that we want to live.
Living quite often, yes. Now, I know that the way that you've spoken about that is brilliant, but many of my gang are going to be a bit scared. So, shall we kind of deal with the elephant in the room straight away?
Dive in, dive in.
Dive in. So I absolutely talk in mind and body and the non-separateness of that. And thankfully science is catching up what we've known
Mhm.
for. Um, but let's just I know one of the things that we spoke about before we started the podcast, was like, I absolutely categorically need to point out this is not about it being all in the mind. Absolute
Yeah.
nonsense. So do you want to speak to that a little bit for me first? Let's get that one done.
Yeah, of course. So it's really understandable, and it's something that I come across a lot when people come across me. I get a lot of responses, and actually I've heard from people who avoided working with me for a long time because they thought that um, my view is that it's all in your head. These conditions are all in your head. They are not. I know that they are not all in your head. These are real physical and often very debilitating conditions. Um, I
You,
know this.
God, yes. Thank God, yes. Because I mean, I've had ME, as you
Yeah,
know, and it was hell trawling through the NHS trying to get anyone to listen, let alone
yeah.
anything else. So,
And I understand that. I understand that personally. I haven't gone through any of these conditions myself, but my mum did. And so I do have that kind of first-hand knowledge or second-hand, whatever you call that. I'm not sure. But I have lived with it. I have seen it. I've seen it manifest. I've seen the what it can cause, what it can do. My mum was bedbound for years. She was medically retired, lost her job, and all of that sort of stuff. I spent a lot of my teenage years pushing around the place in wheelchairs and things like that. So I completely understand that this is not all in your head. And when I talk about a mind body connection and things about emotional root cause, that's not what I'm saying. And I think the issue can be that a lot of medical professionals have had that viewpoint, still have that viewpoint, some of them. And I think also the term psychosomatic is used, and I think that's problematic. Well, I think the meaning of it is, or the definition of it is probably causes some confusion and is problematic. So it's, and I think that's misunderstood. So the term psychosomatic is misunderstood. I'm just going to read something here. So, it's all in your head implies it is made up, a figment of the imagination, perhaps, or that you're creating symptoms through your thinking. Whereas psychosomatic actually means caused or aggravated by a mental factor, such as internal conflict or stress. So this is possibly reducing internal conflict and stress to a mere mental factor. So I think that's where things can get confused. The important part of all of this is the literal connection between the mind and the body. There is no separation there. It's literally connected. And these very real symptoms, physical symptoms of these conditions, can be clearly connected to a build-up of emotional issues.
Absolutely. Have you?
Sorry.
No, sorry, I'm losing my voice already. I haven't even spoken too much. But yeah, I think it's really exciting. I don't know if you've seen this paper that Schleiper's has been part of 2021 about fascia and its connecting to depression. Because a lot of my clients, when I speak to the primary care, there's that kind of implied thing, well, they are depressed. I'm like, well, we're blooming depressed because we're in bed the whole time. Let's face it, it's not exactly an exciting life. But equally, there is a link, but there is that non-separateness, isn't there? And I think, I mean, it's blooming annoying, isn't it, that it has to be discovered in a paper. But it's almost like, oh, well, they're depressed, really. It's not actually a physical manifestation at all. And so I know it's really reassuring to hear you talk like that.
Yeah, and I think the thing is that these things are all connected. So another thing that people don't like to hear often is that depression and anxiety have the same root cause as these physical conditions. So, trying to separate things out and say, oh, you're just depressed and this, there's no point in separating all of this stuff out. There really isn't. And I know that there can be, sorry, my phone's not on silent.
That's what I do all the time.
It is now. There we go. I understand that people think that if it's a physical condition, then you can't associate it with things like just anxiety or just depression. Although I think you probably haven't experienced full-on anxiety or depression if you say that, because they can be just as debilitating at times as the physical conditions. But I don't talk about conditions with my clients. I talk about symptoms, and I don't even talk about them that much. It's more, have you got symptoms? And what was happening around that time. Nothing else really matters to me, because it's all the same root cause, and it's about finding out what amongst that emotional root cause is causing that symptom at that time. Brilliant. And that symptom at that time.
Brilliant.
And
so, sorry, go on.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. There's, you can talk about different symptoms, different conditions, and all of this, and it doesn't matter. It's all connected. It's all the same root cause. And yes, there's lots of things that you can do at a physical level to help and support emotional work, but until you until you really recognize that the the build up of emotions, of suppressed emotions over, especially if it's over years or a lifetime, it just causes ongoing alarm in the body. And therefore your hypothalamus is stuck in overdrive. And that means that you're stuck in fight or flight mode. So stress response mode. And that is physical. It's a biochemical response that's just going on in your body. So your body's effectively running a biochemical marathon all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talk about it in terms of resources. So building resource. So I have people come and watch my classes, and I have, like, I mean, I've got lists of a gazillion conditions, and everybody's a bit like, how the hell? I'm sure it's the same in your groups. How the hell can you be looking after people with all these different labels, shall we say? I'm like, but what we're actually doing fundamentally is you're talking about it in terms of the root cause, and I'm looking at building resilience within the core of the being. And I believe the work that you do, thus me trying to reach out to you, is a big piece of the pie, because it is a pie. There are lots of elements in support, but I absolutely know fundamentally that you have to look at your whole being on the levels that you look at to really start to fundamentally make those core changes. So I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Did I interrupt you? Do you want to share something?
No.
So I mean, it's brilliant, isn't it? It's really exciting. So gosh, where do we even begin? I guess for me then, we've sort of touched on the kind of depression side of things. And I think a lot of people have said to me, oh, people are depressed and that's therefore they have fibro or ME or whatever else. And I guess without expecting your whole toolbox to be shared in 5 minutes, what would you say? I know the things that really drew me to talking to you was talking around boundaries, self-worth, and pacing. Most people that know me know I kind of start to quiver at the word pacing, and I'm trying really hard to be and polite about it, but something intrinsically in me makes me judder. So obviously you know what you do much more than I do. So anything you want to share around that?
Yeah, of course. So
that was a big one, wasn't it? Sorry. Everything all in one go. Off you go, Susan.
That's okay. So as I've explained, it's a buildup of suppressed emotions that causes this stuff. So it's emotional issues. But what most people don't know is that all of the emotional issues exist for us as humans can actually be whittled down to two main categories. With a couple other kind of peripheral things. So the first one is unfair treatment and boundary issues. And the other main one is not meeting your own needs with enough balance and variety.
God, I see that so often. I mean, everybody I work with, I'm so blessed, are absolutely gorgeous people, but they never look after themselves.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about that first? Shall we talk about let's break it down. Otherwise, I've given you the whole books to talk about straight away.
Yeah, fine.
So tell me, what do you think?
Well, we don't put ourselves first because we're conditioned in the society to look after everybody else first. And this is 100% of my clients have this issue, and boundary issues.
Including me, I would imagine. I think I'm going to have to come and work with you just because I'm pretty good, but I would quite like to play with you a bit more.
There's always room for improvement, isn't there? So yeah, we don't really know what our needs are. We're not taught what our needs are, and when we talk about emotional needs, we think that it means having somebody to, a shoulder to cry on, or somebody else to be there and kind of that's not what our emotional needs are. Our emotional needs come down to doing the things that keep us feeling emotionally safe. So it's about doing the things that we feel good about doing, the things that make us feel good. it's about really kind of tuning into ourselves and knowing who we are and knowing what we like. And this is a big issue for a lot of people who have been suppressing this their entire lives in favor of meeting the needs of other people. So many of my clients come to me and they don't know what they like to do. They don't know what brings them joy. They don't know any of this stuff, and they have to learn it and to learn who they actually are.
So that's
Uh,
tricky. So with me, how on earth would you deal with me? Because of I think I love to look after everyone and help them feel good. So that's an interesting one, isn't it? So I could be your most complicated client ever.
oh no! Do you know how many people say that to me?
Easy.
Do you know how many people say that? Does everybody do this? Is everybody this difficult? Am I
Yeah.
the worst client or the most difficult client? No.
So I
No, no.
love looking after people, and I would imagine a lot of us do. So that's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the thing is that the majority of people that have these conditions are highly sensitive people or possibly empaths or, in that whole range where you are more empathic towards other people and your sensory system is probably more highly primed. So you feel more, you feel for others, and therefore it's very natural to kind of want to help people. And the thing that messes a lot of people up is that we think in terms of either or. Either I can be a good person and look after everybody else, or I'm selfish and I'm an asshole.
I could be that too.
And it's about realizing that there's this like really, really nice middle ground where you can look after yourself and make sure your needs are met. And when you do that, you actually have more capacity to be there for other people.
Mm,
You
so
know, it's not one or the other. It's about learning how to actually look after yourself first. And that for some people, it's like, nails down the blackboard, going, how do I put myself first? No, I've got kids, I can't put myself first, or, I've got people to care for, I can't put myself first. No, you actually can. And well, for a lot of people, it's easier to at least put yourself at the same level as other people, because why the hell would you not do that? Why would somebody else be more important than you? No, no, I
love
don't
that.
tolerate that at all in my world.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. So if any of my guys decide to work with Susan as well, which I'm really hoping you will, you're gonna have two of us whipping your asses now. So that's gonna be hilarious. I love and but you can laugh in the fact that you'll know that Susan might well be whipping mine too as well in the future. So that could be fun. Okay. I love that. I think that's brilliant. Gosh, I've already learned so much already. So tell me a little bit more. Did you want to say anything more around that before I kind of shut up and move you on in a terrible way?
no, I think no, I think I've no, I think I said I'll just if you let me carry on, I'll just keep repeating myself and
I
say
love
things in
it.
different ways. So just it's better to just keep moving.
Oh God, honestly. Well, I mean, on if you
I
have
would talk all
a head
day.
like mine, I like to hear it in about 10 different ways too. So that's always good. So tell me about, do you want to talk a little bit about boundaries? We'll leave pacing till the last one because that's just the meanie, isn't it? That's the one everyone's going to raise their eyebrows at for me. But yeah, go for it. Boundaries. Talk to me a bit more about boundaries then.
Boundaries. Well, in order to put yourself first, you need boundaries.
Mm.
You need to with yourself and with other people. Um, Boundaries are interesting because they get talked about so much, especially on social media these days. It's like everywhere you turn, people are saying you have to have healthy boundaries and have your boundaries in place, but nobody really talks
No,
about what
no, I was gonna
they
say none
are.
of
Or
us really do it, do we? We don't really. I mean, I have been good, and then it's a bit like a wave as well, doesn't it? It kind of does that a little bit, and then you
can
go,
be,
oh,
yeah.
okay, I'm letting them fall away a bit. I better bring them back in again. And
Yeah. I think again the view of them makes it difficult. So we have this view that boundaries are about saying no to other people. And I like to challenge that and go, it's not about saying no to other people, it's about saying yes to yourself and actually boundaries are simply a way of communicating, whether it's verbal or energetic, communicating to other people what is and isn't okay with you. It's boundaries are about you once you learn more about who you are and what your needs are and how you want to actually live your life. It's about showing up and being that person. That's it's it'll probably start in small ways of going, okay, I'm going to have to say no to that, or I'm going to have to. But really, the end game is to just show up as you every day and project energetically what you're all about and what you're not going to be available for. But I'm always focusing my clients on what are you available for? What are you saying yes to? Don't view it as a wall, and unless you have to. Sometimes you do need to build that wall and detach from people, which is absolutely fine if they are not good for you, if they are toxic and there's no other way to deal with them. It's all right to have people leave your life, but
It's
when
funny.
you when you start setting boundaries, a lot of the people that shouldn't be there will take themselves out of your life. And I think that's one of the things that people get afraid of. But the people that are meant to be there will stay there
Well,
and be attracted in. It's the people that aren't good for you that will take themselves away. So,
it's interesting, isn't it? So we've got a really lovely community. I know you have as well, and I think so. I keep Sundays as my special day. So they're my day for me, my husband if he's off work, and my animals, and that is it. That is my day at home. And very occasionally my boundaries start to blur. And actually, if they blur in class, my guys will go, but it's your Sunday. You can't do anything on your Sunday. And so they've got my back now. And I love that about them. They're like, just as a reminder, no, Carole, we can't do it on the Sunday because it's your Sunday. Or really, it's your Sunday, Carole. And they're really great. So we kind of will back each other up when it starts to blur a little bit. And it's really, so the right people do hang around, don't they?
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. Um, the thing is, the right people care about you. They love you. They want the best for you. They will not be expecting you to be overextending yourself or harming yourself in order to cater to them. And if they are expecting that, they're not the people that you want around. And I think it does take a bit of bravery to go through that sometimes. But I mean, that's the sort of thing that you can and will build up to. But it starts off small because the thing with boundaries, it's the association with anger, right? So if you've been on the end of unfair treatment for a lot of your life, or it happened early in life, and then you've therefore developed a pattern of allowing it, the primary emotion around it is going to be anger, somewhere along that scale. And the thing is that we can find ourselves very quick to anger in situations where you maybe think it might be an overreaction because it seems like it's a small issue. But if this has been happening throughout your life or for a long, long time, you get oversensitized to it. So basically, your emotional brain is is primed to let you know as soon as something isn't okay with you. So it will react in the same way to I don't know, somebody leaving the toilet seat up as it will to like a major transgression. You will you will find yourself kind of reacting to things, and then people will say, oh, you're overreacting, but actually you're not. You've been underreacting for so long in your life that there's a kind of compensation thing that's happening there. Your emotional brain is trying harder to get your attention to go, no, this isn't okay. This isn't okay. You need to start saying no to what's not okay. You need to start disallowing things that aren't okay with you, um, and focusing more on what is okay with you, and doing that. So So yeah, that's why it's important to look at the minor issues as well. So the little things that happen kind of day to day that you might think, oh, that's not important, I should let that go. That's the very stuff to start with, because they're the easier ones to deal with, you know.
Yeah, because I think people will be really fearful about beginning to be different in how they respond, and like you said earlier about potentially losing people, often within their families is what I've been hearing actually. So that's a lot, isn't it, to potentially have to look at creating space from people that close to you.
Yeah, I think it is a whole building it up, and because the more you do it with the smaller things, the more you grow in confidence, and you go, actually, the world doesn't end when I put these things in place. And the more you build in your confidence and become more you, I'm saying it's ever going to be that easy, but the better able you'll be to cope with dealing with the bigger issues and the potential consequences and things like that. But the more you become you and happy with you, the more you only want your tribe around you, you know, rather than people who are being unfair.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot in itself. My gosh, thank you, Susan. So tell me, come on, let's do it. Pacing. Why do I don't know. I haven't really played with this much yet. But I guess coming from ME during the time when it was still being called the yuppie flu, and I was a Londoner and all that kind of stuff, and I was, in a ridiculous, crazy life. So I absolutely fitted the criteria. The whole concept of well, let's not even do the CBT conversation, but CBT and pacing for me, yeah, that's what happens to me now. But it's interesting because I do have people that fundamentally believe that is what keeps them safe.
Okay.
That is what keeps them functional, and able to experience life on some level.
Okay.
So come on, that's a bit of a big one.
it is quite a big one. So the idea that it keeps them safe comes from the false idea that physical exertion causes symptoms.
You see, so if I get into felt sense response to your words, so I so need to work with you. This is really exciting. So there's still, and I've done like loads of work on this, go with this stuff, but I'm obviously still need you. So my stomach goes in a little knot in a reaction to that. Like, no, of course, the more I do, the more knackered I am. Isn't that interesting? And I know I think I know a lot of the theory that you work from, I think, but I still, in my tissues here, just a bit lower than my camera, I can feel that knot of resistance against those words. Say it again. Yeah. So go on, do it again. Interesting.
Physical exertion in itself does not cause symptoms.
Yeah.
And even the most open-minded of my clients, it takes experimenting with this, and that's what I encourage people to do. Experiment, go and try it and see. Right, just take what I'm suggesting, because I'll give people specific things to do when I work with them one-to-one. Just go and play around with it, go and see what happens. Because they'll understand at a kind of head level what I'm saying, and yes, this makes sense, but it is that until you've kind of proven it to yourself, you don't feel it in your body until that happens, I think.
Yeah, because my body's already saying it could prove you wrong on that. But I know you, I know the success you have. So I know that I can happily say this out loud because I'm not dissing you, because I know that you find your way around this with your clients. So
yeah,
my body's going, Christ, if I went for a walk and then a swim and then clean the house, I'd be knocked out for the rest of the week, is where my brain goes, even now, even with the tools that I have.
And And that possibly might be the case, but that means that there's something within those things that are causing an emotional issue, which will then cause the physical response. It
No
won't
one
be
should ever clean. That's what it is. No one should
that's it.
ever
Well,
clean.
there you go. That's it.
Yeah.
And the thing is that this is what I do with people. If it's a one-to-one thing, this is what I do with people, because they'll go, well, what did you do? I did this, this, and this. And how do you feel about that?
No one should ever clean.
There are a few people in the world that like to clean, and I think we should encourage them, because then, once we're all like rich and stuff, we can employ them to come and do the cleaning for us, and
Yeah.
everybody's happy. So,
I mean, I love sheets to be ironed, but I don't actually own an iron anymore. I thought that was a pointless experiment. What's the point of having one of those? It just gets dusty anyway. So yeah.
mine's at the back of a cupboard somewhere. Um, this is it, and okay, we all have essential things that we have to do, but we have to have the right balance around that. And if we are meeting the rest of our needs, then that's okay. We can do that, because here's the thing, and this is the whole thing with pacing and spoon theory.
Oh yeah.
Is that it kind of assumes that everything we do takes energy from us.
Mm.
And that's not true.
So you're talking about energy givers, are you?
Yes, when you meet your needs, you get energy. There are things that we do that give us energy back. So it's not just about having a pile of spoons and losing them throughout the day. That's ridiculous. Unless you're only doing things for other people, unless you are evolving your life around others and meeting their needs, then yeah, I can see where people see that as being logical. Well, this is what happens. Everything I do takes my energy. Then look at what you do. Look at what you do. Because if you're living your life serving other people, of course that's going to take energy. Because what about you? You have needs. So
And sorry, go on.
when you get that balance, and by balance I don't mean everything in equal proportions, which some people think it means. No, you can balance a lot of light things with one heavy thing. So yeah, it's finding the right balance for you, and it's doing things like being creative and having more fun and learning and exercise or movement, being sociable, doing things that kind of fill you up at a soul level and all this sort of stuff. So there's this kind of variety of things that you need to be doing with your life, because we need this stimulation. We need to be interested. We need to be doing more. We're here to create lives that we want to be living. And so when we do more of these things that we want to do, we get more energy. And therefore we have more capacity to do more. And when you can get your head around that, then it kind of makes sense that you can do these things without crashing the next day or having the next week of symptoms and things like that.
I love that. And is this so I'm going to move you on in just a moment, but just in terms of pacing then, is this something, the way that you approach what we've just talked about, something that is possible for those that are carers, that are single parents raising complex families or anything like that? Yeah, so nod. Tell me. Because
Yeah,
I know a lot of my guys have big responsibilities.
yeah.
So just wondering if you could just talk to that a little bit in terms of finding a way to fill yourself up rather than.
Yeah, it is more challenging, and I do understand that. So there's a difference between somebody who's single and only has themselves to be responsible for, and then people with other dependents and caring responsibilities and things like that. But there will never be a case where you cannot ever meet any of your needs. does take determination. It takes creativity. It takes being willing to do something for yourself, because until you get to that point, until you actually go, right, okay, I'm going to try and do this, your mindset's going to be wrong around it. You're never going to be able to do any of it, because you'll just keep telling yourself, I don't have time, I've got all of this to do. It'll be all of these buts. I would do this, but.
Some of this is around self-worth, isn't it? Putting a value on yourself, as you
Yeah,
said.
you have to. I mean, the majority of my clients have very, very low self-worth, but they have to have enough that they've reached out to me. They have to have enough that they've gone, I want to do something to get better. So there's something there to build on. There's always something there to build on. But it's about breaking through the next level as well. Okay, so what's the next level? Well, I I I want to feel better, so I need to find some space. I need to find some time. I need to find some way of taking care of my responsibilities, but also giving to me. And I think a lot of people can be very surprised at how little it can take. Um, you know, everyone can find 15, 20 minutes in a day to do something. But if you do the right thing, then that will help increase, that will give you some energy back. Because what a lot of people the kind of people that you're talking about, you're describing at the moment, have these conditions and have all of this stuff to do. So all of that stuff feels so much harder. It feels so much more difficult.
And I can relate to that too from my own history.
Yeah. If you start to increase the stuff over here for you, the difficulty level of all that comes down a little bit. And I'm not saying that a lot of that is ever going to be easy. I've been in positions of having responsibilities and caring for others and that sort of thing as well. I get it, but you can redress the balance a little bit, because, like I say, if you are not meeting any of your needs and you're only focusing on other people, then yeah, that's going to make you feel like shit. It's just going to make things so much harder. Everything's going to be harder than it has to be. But you start somewhere and then you build on it and you build on it and you build on it. The more you can do that, the more your energy increases, the more your other symptoms reduce, and the more you're able to take care of someone else without taking all your reserves. You know?
Brilliant. I love that, because I think there is the conversation around people like myself who have had ME or those with fibro and things like that, where there is an implied tone that they want to stay where they are, isn't there? And actually, every single one of my clients are with me because they're fed up to the teeth of it and want to fight their way out of it. And so, but it is interesting, isn't it? It's that kind of sense that the society seems to have, that they think we all want to be, as incapacitated as we have been or are. And yeah.
So I was just going to say, I think that possibly comes from the fact that a lot of people do keep themselves in that sort of place, but these aren't the people that we're talking about. We are talking to, because yes, if they're coming to the likes of you or me, then they are going, right, what can help me? What can help me get out of this? There are other people who have been told so often that they can't get out of it, and they trust who has told them that, and therefore they can't see a way out of it. And they keep reinforcing all of that and stay stuck. And there are some people who are in a situation where they possibly feel that is a lot of this is subconscious, but possibly feel that that's how they they have their needs met, get attention and all of that sort of stuff. So it's kind of that, a little bit of the kind of victim poor me mentality, but I don't think anybody is deliberately choosing to stay there. I think there's a lot of subconscious stuff going on around that and
And it
going
is
on around.
enabled, isn't it? I mean, it's enabled by within the conventional approaches to a lot of these conditions,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
So no wonder people kind of get themselves stuck in that way of being. And I guess we're really fortunate to meet those within that group that actually kind of are resistant to being
yeah,
put in that box, I
yeah.
guess.
That is it. It's the people that are going, this doesn't, no, this doesn't sit right with me. This doesn't make sense to me, and I'm actually, no, I'm not settling for this.
Yeah, that's it. It's about an acceptance of
Yeah,
this is what my lot's going to be. And
yeah,
actually, none of the guys want that. They're like,
yeah,
hey, this is not going to be my life. It's
yeah,
going to be my story.
yeah,
And then, of
exactly.
course, it's blooming hard, isn't it? Because we've all thrown thousands and thousands of pounds at people that don't do anything to change anything. And
Yes,
then there's that hope daring to do something else
yeah,
within it all as well, isn't there? I
yeah,
guess you have people like that as well.
yeah. I'm usually the last stop for a lot of people,
Yeah.
and it is a last ditch attempt. It's like I've done all of this, and I'm like, well, the thing is, when I talk to somebody, it tends to, if they're this kind of person who has invested and invested and invested time, energy, as well as money, to try and find something.
And emotional hope. I always
Yeah,
think that's what's really hard. And actually, when I'm trying to convince people to join in with what I want them to do, it's the daring to hope, which is one of the biggest
yeah,
barriers, really.
yeah. I think what I find with my clients is that when I talk to them and I explain the way that the emotional stuff causes the symptoms, it just it's the only thing that's actually made ever made proper sense to them. And so something clicks into place, and that's the bit that gives them the hope. And okay, right, okay, I'll try this. I will try this. I'll give this a go because that makes absolute sense to me. Um, so, and it either does or it doesn't, you know?
Oh, we
Uh,
can't help everyone. First lesson of the therapist, isn't it?
yeah,
Can't help someone. We can't help everyone. People have to decide what paths they're going to go on, don't they?
yeah, absolutely.
Wow. So that's quite a good place to kind of pause. It's a bit of a taster. Um, I do want, as it is the season, a little bit of a Christmas tip from you. But before we do that, is there anything else you want to share beyond your Christmas, how to get through Christmas tip?
Um, oh, I don't know.
We've said a lot, we've covered a lot, we've touched on a lot of the things I think that make you so exciting.
I would, I think all I would say is clearly everyone that's listening to this, everyone that is in contact with you or works with you has an open mind. Um, and
Yeah, they have to put up with a lot working with me, I have to say.
and even if it just takes just cranking that open a little bit more to kind of take on what I'm saying, because all I want to do is to share hope for people that this isn't something, these conditions aren't something that just have to be managed, or oh, I can make a slight improvement in this. You can get rid of your symptoms. You can get rid of them. And I'm not going to mention words like cure and things like that because actually nobody is allowed to say that. So all this like, oh, we're trying to find a cure for cancer. No, are you not? You are not. Because you wouldn't, even if you did, you wouldn't be allowed to say it. Because what happens is that you recover from something and then what happens is you can either stay recovered or some symptoms can reappear again. And that can happen. So this isn't a case of like doing something and going, right, I'm all better now. I can go back to the way that I was. The thing is, you have to keep doing it. So you have to keep meeting your needs. You have to keep setting boundaries and all of that. But if you're on top of all of that, you will keep your symptoms away because your symptoms are just loud emotions. They are helpful messages from your body. And that's the point that I really aim to get my clients to, is to not be scared of symptoms and to go, well, this is a helpful message from my body. What's my body telling me? It's telling me that something's come in under the radar. There's been negative emotions that for some reason I've missed and I haven't acted on. Right, what are they? Okay, well, somebody crossed my boundaries. Somebody treated me like that and I didn't disallow it. Or, you know what, I haven't been having enough fun recently. You know, I haven't been crafting, or I haven't been seeing my friends as much as possible. So you know where to look to get yourself back on track again. And that's what it's about. It's not about being cured. It's not about never experiencing any issues ever again in your life. It's about being able to recognize them and take appropriate action.
Brilliant. I love that.
To keep yourself well.
I love that. So, I mean, I talk about my ME. So I don't say I have ME anymore, whatever you want to call it. I say there's a little bit of ME that just sits behind me on my shoulder. And then every now and then it will poke me and remind me everything that you just said, really.
Yeah.
It's just like, oi, pay attention. Pay attention. I'm your little vulnerability. Pay attention. Right. I'm going to close us now. Sorry, go on.
It's not even a vulnerability, though. It's a strength.
Yes, actually.
Your body is being super helpful. And I know that's hard for people to hear, but it's being super helpful because it's going, here, hello.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so we're going to need to come to an end now. So give me, for my guys, a hot tip of how they can look after themselves over Christmas.
Remember that you are as important as everybody else. So if you are trying to make Christmas and all of that sort of stuff amazing for everyone else, include yourself in that and do what you have to do in order to be okay yourself and to enjoy the time yourself, and take yourself out of situations if you need to. Sensory overload, having a lot of people around and all of that sort of stuff, if that's how you're spending the time, it's a real thing. So it's okay to just go, I'm going for a break. I'm going to get some space, some quiet time, just to kind of recharge a little bit and then go back in. But just make yourself as important as everyone else, at least.
Thank you so much, Susan. I'm absolutely brilliant. So, guys, we're gonna come to an end now. I want you to know that Susan is actually doing a new online course, and it's wonderful. The wonderful thing about online now is that we can access all these incredible people. Do you want to just share a little bit about that, Susan?
Yeah, sure. So it's a self-paced, all online course, and it is designed primarily for people who are interested in the work that I do and want to give it a try, but maybe can't access me one-to-one for whatever reason, or want to kind of dip their toe in first before committing to one-to-one. So it's my whole approach done via video and materials and stuff online. The introductory price is going to be under £100, and you get access to everything, including updates for life.
Wow, brilliant. Well, I know I'm going to sign up to it. I can't wait. Really looking forward to it. Always going to get a bit better. So you can find Susan Murray on her website, which is officialsusanmurray.com. Is that right?
Yep.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Susan, for joining me for my first podcast. Let's hope I can get this all nicely up and running for everyone to listen to. That'll be
Thanks for having me.